Oh, hello everyone. It's lovely to have you back again this morning. Shall we give Jack a shout? Do you want to give him a little shout? I think he's awake this morning because I've heard him wriggling around, so I don't think it's like last week. Are you ready to give him a big shout? Here he is. Yay! Jack, why are you shaking? You're not shaking. What's the matter? Are you frightened? What's the matter, Jack? You're excited. Oh, that's good. Why are you excited? Oh, he's excited because Jesus is alive. That's definitely a good reason to be excited. And he's excited to see all of you again. Yes, I've been missing them too. They will. Are you ready, boys and girls? Are you ready to do the welcome song? Welcome everyone and say hello. Say hello. Say hello. Welcome everyone and say hello. We're glad you came. Oh, yes. Jack says he's got a really good story from the Bible that happened just after Jesus had been raised from the dead. And he'd like to read it. Shall we get it out? Let's get it. Let's get out. It's everywhere today. Oh, I'm really missing having you boys and girls to help me. Right, let's put that down. Let's put that back in there. And so which story is it, Jack? Oh, he wants to do the Bible song. Oh, I know, we didn't do it last week. Don't worry, they won't have forgotten. They won't. Look, listening. Look, he's lifting up his ear, ready to listen. Well, let me just find the page. Can we all remember the song? Remember, it goes like this. Here's the Bible, a special book, What's inside it? Let's take a look. They did, didn't they? Right, let me see if I can find the right page. Here it is. So our story today is all about two of Jesus's friends. You all right there, Jack? Two of Jesus's friends who went on a journey from Jerusalem to a town called Emmaus. Right, let's put that there. And it happened just after Jesus had risen from the dead. Right, let's take our two friends out. They're ready to go on their journey. So the two friends had set off on a journey. Oh, they don't look very happy, do they? They were trudging along. In fact, they weren't happy at all. They were feeling really sad about all the things that had happened in Jerusalem to Jesus, about how the rulers had killed him on a cross, and they were just remembering about it. And they didn't know that Jesus had come back to life again. Some of the women had come and told them, but they weren't sure. They thought, that sounds like such a strange thing. That can't be right. So they were heading off on their journey feeling really quite sad about it. Hey, I wonder, if any of you, see if you can do a sad face. See who can do the best sad face. And look really miserable. And maybe, tell you what, if you've got space, why don't you stand up? Just have a little go walking around our room, a little bit like the two friends were walking sort of slowly and sadly around the room, maybe with their heads cast down, not really feeling very cheerful. Do you want to have a little go of that just for a few seconds? Oh, very good. Right, come and sit back down. So don't worry, it's not actually a sad story, this. It's a very happy story. Anyway, as the two friends were walking along the road, another traveller joined them. Like this. Walked along for a bit, and the other traveller walked along for a bit, and he noticed how sad they looked. And he said to them, "Hey, why are you so sad?" And they looked at each other, and he looked at them. But they didn't really look at him, well, not that closely. They were too busy feeling sad. In fact, one of them felt a little bit annoyed. How could this stranger not know what had happened and why they were sad? So he said to them, he said, "Hey, why don't you know what's happened in Jerusalem? Don't you know what's been going on these past few days in Jerusalem about our best friend Jesus? Jesus was wonderful. He was amazing. He did such fantastic things. He healed people. He made bread and fish just multiply out of nowhere. He told amazing stories. Oh, he was just the best. And now he's gone. Gone? Yes, he's gone. The rulers, they took him. They killed him. Just like that. We had such hopes of what was going to happen, but now he's dead and we're just so sad. Well, the stranger looked at them. And then he looked ahead and he said, "Don't you know what's been written in God's special book? Don't you know about God's big plan to save the world, to save everybody?" They listened. And then the stranger carried on and he began to tell them all about God's special plan, starting right at the beginning, starting with the stories in the Bible, stories of Moses, stories of Daniel, stories of all of God's prophets. And he said to them, "Do you know, all of those stories were pointing to a special event. They were pointing to God sending a special rescuer who would come and who would save the world and who would rescue everybody." Well, they kept walking and they kept listening. They were really curious to know all about God's special plan. Oh, let's just use this, shall we? Let's use this box to pretend to be a house. Because after a while on their special journey, they got to where they were going. They got to their house. And they'd so enjoyed listening to the stranger, telling them all about God's special plan to send a rescuer who would suffer, a rescuer who would die, but who would rise again, that they wanted him to stay. They hadn't noticed that they'd started walking a little bit quicker. They hadn't noticed that they weren't quite as sad as they were before. But they had noticed that they liked listening to the traveller. So they said to him, "Hey, look, we've got a table, we've got some chairs, we've got some food. Why don't you stay? Why don't you stay with us for dinner?" The traveller said, "Oh, that sounds nice. Okay." So he joined them for dinner. And then at one point in the meal, he picked up the bread. He held it up high. This sparked a memory. As he held it up high and he broke it, the two friends looked at each other. They looked at the bread. They looked at him. They looked at each other. They looked at the stranger. They looked at each other. They looked at him. They looked at each other. He didn't look like a stranger anymore. Suddenly they realised that the stranger was Jesus. And just as they realised that it was Jesus, he vanished. Just like that. Vanish him away. Wow. They were so excited. What the women had said must be true. Jesus was alive. They jumped up and down. They hopped and they skipped. They twirled around. Just imagine that. Big grown-ups acting just the same as excited 2- and 3-year-olds and excited dogs. Oh, it was just the happiest they had ever been. They couldn't believe it. And so they travelled, ran back to go and tell all their friends exactly what had happened and what they had seen. I wonder, I know. What do you think, Jack? Let me just ask, he normally tells me, but I might just have a look. What do you think? Shall we do that? What do you suggest? He's got the whole world in his hands. That's a good song. That's one of Jack's favourite songs. Jack thinks that what we should do now is we should sing He's got the whole world in his hands. That God has got the whole world in his hands. Even dogs. Yes, even dogs. Even puppet dogs. Yes, even puppet dogs. Called Jack. Definitely God has got dogs and cats and boys and girls and mums and dads and everybody in his hand. Even when we're sad. Yes, God has got us in his hands when we're sad. Even when we're worried. Yes, God has got us in his hands when we're worried. And when we're excited and when we're happy. Yes, and even when everything seems like it has all gone wrong, God has still got us in his hands. So I'll tell you what, boys and girls, what we'll do now is we'll put on a video from the Little Worship Company that's for the song he's got the whole world in his hand. So get ready now, and we'll pop that on, and it's got some actions, and you can join in with it, and then I'll see you back just in a few moments. So bye for now. Have a good sing and a good dance and a good join in of the actions, and we'll see you back in a few minutes. See you soon. Bye.
He's got the whole world in his hands. 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 He's got all of the mountains in his hands. He's got all of the rivers in his hands. He's got all of the jungles in his hands. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's got all the tiny creatures in his hands. He's got all the giant creatures in his hands. He's got all the funny creatures in his hands. He's got the whole world 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 in his hands.
Mum and Dad, that was fantastic.
They're back now, Jack. You can stop singing now, Jack. They're back. Jack. Yeah, look. They've come back now. They've come back. He says your singing was just beautiful. They said it was really wonderful singing. Oh, yes, okay. Jack's just wondering, what was your favourite bit in the story that we told today? Should we spend a moment just thinking about that? In fact, just take a minute, just being really quiet and just settling down after all that giddiness. Being really quiet and just have a think about that story and all the things that happened in that Bible story after Jesus has been risen from the dead and his friends are on that journey. What was your favourite bit? Spend a moment just thinking about that. Give me a thumb up when you finish thinking about it so I know you're ready for the next thing. Okay. You ready? Oh, that's great. Do you know, yes, they could. Help that. What a good idea. Jack says, why don't you all sing the prayer song? No, they might not know it. It goes like this. Are you ready? It goes. We know God is always there. Now it's time to say a prayer. Stretch hands wide, then give a clap. Fold them safely in your lap. We know God is always there. Now it's time to say a prayer. Why don't you just spend a few moments telling Jesus the thing about that story that was your favourite bit, the thing that made you excited. And you might want to pray it out loud, or you might want to whisper it into your hands, or you might want to just think it in your head. But if you let's just spend a couple of minutes just telling God our favourite thing about that story. So let's just do that now. then when you're finished, just come back together. Yeah. Oh, mate, yeah. Jack wants to know my favourite. My favourite bit was when Jesus broke the bread and his two friends realised that he was alive. That was my favourite bit. I thought that was really, really good. I loved that. Right, Jack, how are you feeling? He's starting to get tired. Dogs like to have lots of sleeps, and he's starting to get a bit tired now, aren't you? Are you ready for your nap? Yeah. Okay, right. We're ready to sing goodbye to Jack before he goes back for his sleep. It goes like this. Goodbye, everyone. Wave goodbye to Jack. We've had fun and he'll be back. Goodbye, everyone. Wave goodbye to Jack. We've had fun and he'll be back. Right, you ready to go to bed? You want to give them one last wave? Okay, one last wave. 2 waves. Time for bed, Jack. Into bed now. Off you go. Shh. That's it. Settle down. Let's close our box up. Oh, it's been lovely to have you joining us all again today. I hope you can come back next Sunday and have a really good and lovely day this afternoon. And hopefully I'll see you all again soon. Bye. Bye.